Hey, what do you do when you want to increase the time that you can go out and boondock?
Come join us on our adventure.
Hi, I'm JT.
And I'm DT. And these are our adventures.
Join us as we travel
as we help our community
and just enjoy life.
Hey, your safety is very important to us. And we just want to say that if you have any doubts or if you are not quite confident in being able to do this or don't think you have the ability to, get somebody to help you or have a professional install it for you. So here's our basic setup. We have 2 propane tanks here and 2 deep cycle batteries here. Now, originally on a little guy max, you get 1 propane and 1 battery, and we didn't think that was going to be good enough for us for the amount of time that we'd like to boondock. So I've removed the cover, and here's our 2 propane tanks. You'll notice that there are 2 hoses now, 1 to each tank, and a regulator. Our regulator works by whatever the arrow is pointing at. That's the tank we are using. I keep the tank that we're not using closed, just to make sure if there is any slight leaks or anything like that, then I'm not just going to waste gas. This one also has a little indicator right here that turns red when this tank is empty. You'll notice at the top I do have a little lock here. The lock is so that somebody just doesn't walk up and can spin that off and walk off with our 2 propane tanks. We found that going to a propane place to have them filled is a lot better economically than going and switching the tanks. I know sometimes you don't have much choice, but I feel like we get a lot more propane whenever we get them filled. It seems like we only, you don't get them quite full when you get an exchange tank. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but that's our observation. Now, to do this, I took an extension hose, connected it to the original hose. I did remove the regulator that was back on the back wall, and I took that extension, brought it up here using the proper tape for gas fittings. Use that to seal that, and now we have a dual tank system. A tank, when it's completely full, is about 37 pounds, 40 pounds. So we did add a little bit of weight to the tongue weight here of 40 pounds. You'll notice something missing. That's the jack. We put a super jack on here. It's significantly lighter than the other one, and it's basically a wash between the weight of adding another tank. Inside the compartment, this is where we now have our 2 batteries. I do have a shunt here that goes to a voltage control or a voltage monitor to just kind of watch how much we are using our batteries. Basically, all power goes between here, and it's monitored inside. I'll show that in just a minute. So here's the batteries hooked up. The black wire coming from the trailer with the red tape on it, that is the positive side of the circuit. The white side is the negative side. So a lot of people are a little bit confused, but the red tape is the reminder that that's the positive side. You'll notice that I have several cables attached here. We take the positive wire, and it's going to travel all the way here to the positive side of this post. The negative side is going to travel all the way to the negative side of the post. Now, to get the electricity into the trailer, this is in what is called parallel, and with a parallel circuit with 2 batteries, when you have them hooked up this way, you get 12 volts out, but you get twice as many amp hours. And so that's the reason we want to have 2 batteries here, because this battery we can take down to about halfway before we actually can cause some damage to it. So we never want to go past halfway. So what we want to make sure that we do is, if we do have a lot of electrical demand, like a blower fan all night during the wintertime, that we do have that electricity that will be able to keep us going. Now I have disconnected the voltage monitor just to show you the simplified view of this. Now what I need to do is a little bit of battery maintenance. So let me show you what I'm going to do. What I want to do is just make sure that I get electricity turned off in the trailer. So there is a battery disconnect switch over on the side. So I want to go ahead and turn that one off. But that doesn't guarantee that all of the electricity is turned off. So the next one is I'm going to take the negative connection into the trailer, and I'm going to disconnect that. I loosened this up with a wrench earlier just so that a little faster, and also it's hard to do that with just one hand. Is just basically looking and making sure that all of the connections are clean. If they're not clean, I'm going to get my little wire brush, and I'll wire brush those and get rid of any corrosion. Also, any dirt or stuff like that that's across the top, I want to get that off also, because that's a path for electricity to possibly go through. Using a screwdriver, I'm going to pry this off very carefully and make an observation into each one of the cells. Now, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but each one of the cells has fluid up to where it needs to be, and so this set of cells is good. Alright, so I have that open. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to use this little battery tester, and I'm going to test each one of the cells. Now, according to the instructions, if all of the balls are floating, that's good. So what we're testing here is the electrolytes in each one of the cells. And that's a good cell. And a good cell. Now what will happen is sometimes while you are charging this, it will overcharge it and actually boil the battery and boil out some of this liquid. So I'm going to go put this down in a safe spot, because that is a very caustic acid, and put the cap back on and go to the next one. So here's my other side, and I've noticed that on the side over here, this one is a little bit low on the liquid. I can see where the liquid is on that one, but on that one it's a little low. You'll notice that I have a syringe. This has distilled water inside of it. You could use a turkey baster, or just try to carefully pour the water in there. Let me try to do this with one hand. Woo. I'm going to bring that up to the same level as all the other ones, and then I'll go and check the electrolytes. So we've done all the cells. This one did have a couple of low cells in them, so I added some more distilled water into it, and now we're ready to finish up the job. And to do that, it would be hooking that white wire to the negative terminal on the other battery. You'll notice that I didn't hook them both to the same battery, parts going into the trailer, and that's from recommendations that I've seen online, that it seems I guess it balances out the battery, or what, I'm not quite sure. Some of you guys that are more knowledgeable about this might want to write give me some hints there in the comments below. So this is our voltage monitor. This is what's called a shunt right here. And it's hooked up by the way the directions say to do that. We're going to run a negative wire to one side. Let me take off this one, because that's not where it's going to go. That's going to basically be the part that's going back into the trailer. There is a positive wire that I'm going to hook to the positive side of this battery, and the negative wire is going to go onto the other side of the shunt. So to complete the path into the trailer, it's going to have to go out the negative pole right here, come in through the shunt, and go there. Now the shunt is designed to basically tell you how much your energy you're using, so that's a great idea. So the final part of this little task is just to make sure that I've tightened down all the nuts onto their bolts. All the connections seems to be good. And so the next thing I will do is turn that battery disconnect switch back on to on and go check inside. So here's that battery monitor that I've been talking about. There's some very valuable information that I can get off of there. It's telling me that the solar is putting in at about 13.7. Currently, I'm not using any current or power. Also, the total energy use is at 2012. What I'll do is in the evening, I'll kind of look at that number, write it down because I'm going to forget it, and kind of just watch it as the evening goes by. And you can pretty well calculate how fast you're using your energy and also what to watch. Something just turned on for just a second, and I don't know if you saw the numbers jump. Let me try to get something like the fan going, and we'll see what what we get. So here's that voltage regulator. I've turned on the fan, and you'll notice that it is pulling a little bit of current. It's at 1.4, 1.97. My solar went down from the 13.6 to 12.98. That means that the solar's probably basically taking care of it right now. As it goes along, that power number will be reduced and the current value will be reduced if I'm balanced with my solar. So if I'm using electronics during the day, I'm not going to have a net loss and not have it at full capacity in the evening. This is a great little device. You can find them on Amazon. There's cheap ones, there's expensive ones. Somebody might have a better recommendation than this one. If you'd leave that in the notes below, that'd be great. So we're all buttoned up. Simple tools like a syringe, a mini battery tester, crescent wrench, and screwdriver can really extend the length of those batteries. If you need help doing that, ask somebody. That's always, if you think you can do it, but have any doubts, make sure you ask somebody before you do any of these things. So what did you think of the mod?
I thought it was a great mod.
Yeah, no, it gives you peace of mind knowing that you can boondock with a couple of, extra batteries and propane. It lets you sleep good at night. If you enjoyed our video, remember to subscribe, thumbs up, and if you didn't like our video, push that down button twice.